Hi, Marley. I'm so excited to have you on today.
Me too. What a great rush this morning. Come make it and be here on time. I made
Okay,
it.
so guys, I have to tell you what I did. I scheduled Marley told me that she had uh the on Wednesday available from 11 to 3, and I scheduled with her at 11 so that we could so that we could have our call at early in the morning. And then I sent out the invitation for 10 a.m. for everyone. I put the Zoom call at 10 a.m. I sent it, the emails at 10 a.m. I did everything at 10 a.m. And Marley receives the invitation and sends back an email and says, this is a great email, but didn't we agree to 11 a.m.? And I feel so guilty because it was already done. That's it. Like, I'd already sent out the information. So I thought, well, if she can make it instead of switching it, it would probably be better to keep it at 10. So she said, well, I might be a few minutes late because she had to coordinate babysitting and all this stuff. So we made her, what we did today was that since she's going to teach us about stress, we put her in a very stressful situation so that
Just perfect.
we could see her put it into practice and see if she was legit. Now we know.
Yes, a super authentic example of experiencing stress this morning and handling it to the best of my ability. I mean, I will share what happened this morning because it's just kind of a funny way to start. But first, just good morning to
Good
you,
morning.
Caro, and to your core crew. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you. And I think I did catch my breath. So I think we're okay now. I am
Okay,
settled.
so keep taking a few breaths because I want to use this opportunity to introduce you real quick.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Thank you. more
Marley Q. Marley Q is the spark of kindness. She's an inspirational speaker, yoga teacher, and event creator who helps people discover, tap into, and leverage the power of kindness to transform their professional, personal, and spiritual lives. She hosts a weekly podcast called Time to Be Kind. And she's here with us today because she's recently launched an online course called The Best Way to Stress Less, to teach people a simple way to practice self-care, even if you think you're too busy and have no extra time. So I will tell you on a personal note that I met Marley many years ago at an event. And interestingly, she remembered have met me at an event prior because since she's an event coordinator, she worked with my dad. And I don't remember meeting her that first time, but when I walked into this event that I was going to, somebody said to her, oh, look, that's Joaquin de Posada's daughter. And she came up to me and she hugged me. He had just died. And she hugged me. And it was the kindest hug I'd ever received from somebody that I didn't know. But I guess she was like transferring that energy of like, I love your father and I love you too. And that's how our friendship was created. It was sparked through a hug. And she's a very wonderful human being, somebody that I admire, that I love her energy. I love her work. I was fortunate and blessed to be interviewed by her on her podcast. And she's the kind of people that I want to work around. You know, she's the kind of people that I want to collaborate with, that I want to work with, that I want to share with the world. And I feel really honored that I get to have her share with our community. So thank you, Marley, for being here. And the floor is yours. You got this, girl.
Thank you. Thank you. I am fired up right now. What happened earlier? What stress was I experiencing a moment ago? It's so over. I am so filled with love and gratitude and joy, truly, for that really warm reception in your heart, and really just for the opportunity to be present here with you all and share a little bit, because I love Caro, and I love your crew and what you've created and your challenge. I think that I just want to start by acknowledging each and every single one of you, first for showing up to this Zoom call, for being part of Caro's core crew, and already working on or prioritizing your self-care and your health and wellness. I think you're already doing the best job that you can in order to stress less. What I may have to share with you today is really just to complement or to enhance your existing practice. because what I focus on for the last 6 years as a yoga teacher is teaching beginner students how to practice self-care. Yes, with the principles of yoga, but this is for people that you don't need a yoga mat. You don't need any yoga experience. You don't need to be a yogi or turn into a pretzel or stand on your head or anything fancy like that. It's really, yoga is so much more than those physical asanas or those physical practices that we see promoted on Instagram so beautifully. It's so much more than that. So, right before coming on this call, thank you for sharing that. You didn't have to, you did like this whole confession, like it totally doesn't matter. Thank you. Because that's really what I thought. I was actually giggling about it. I was like, what a great example or opportunity for me to practice the best way to stress less. Because yes, I had planned, I'm a planner. So I had a plan for 11. I'm like, 10. That means I have to, wake up a little bit earlier. I have to make sure I get my kid out of here so that I can focus. I have to put, a little bit of makeup on, put on the light. Every single morning I give my husband, he works really late at night. He's a musician and a music editor. He handles all the editing for my podcast. So he likes to work through the evening. I do not. I work in the morning. And the morning is my energy. So anyway, so he sleeps in a little bit and I always prepare his coffee in the morning and I give it to him every morning. This morning, I did not have time for that. And it was just so nice to come home after dropping off my baby and, kind of doing everything, rushing slowly as I like to practice. And my husband he made me coffee today. And it was just so nice to receive that which I give every single day for the past 12 years together.
Marley, can you tell them how pregnant you are?
I am very pregnant. I'm happy to show you. I am very, very, very pregnant. Here we go. Oh, this is a 35-week belly, baby boy, my second baby boy. And yeah, I have so many reasons to stress during these stressful times. And what I love about just my own self-care journey and what I'm going to share with you today is how I've transformed that relationship with stress. No longer do I want to eliminate or conquer or master or get rid of stress, because that's unachievable, unattainable, and really quite a silly goal to have. You are going to, as human beings, experience stress. And I loved your email because, stress isn't anything new to any of us. We're just living in a particular time in history where we're experiencing maybe unprecedented levels of stress. So when I tried to teach and how I used my energy during these stressful times where my events business vanished within the span of a week, and I'm here expecting a baby September 1st, and all these reasons to stress, I'm like, okay, how can I use this stress to fuel me into positive action? And what I decided to do was create this online course, which just launched on Monday. I have 30 students in the class. I'm so excited. It's my first virtual event, and I'm having so much fun with this pivot into the virtual event space. So I guess to start off with, I know I started off with this whole giving and receiving, how I got to experience a little bit of stress this morning. And what helped me come here and be in the best amount of energy, even though I spilled my coffee all over because I have a light here. The light fell down. I spilled my coffee. I was just like, oh, thank God I didn't spill it on my laptop, right? I was just trying to find all these reasons to be grateful for. Here comes my husband. You're practicing that best thing, right? Because he sees me. I'm there smiling, expressing gratitude, breathing through this thing. I'm going to be there by 10:05 at the latest. And I did it. So
you did.
Yeah, I got to.
You did it.
I got to walk my own talk very, very authentically this morning to join you ladies today.
I love that. So thank you for sharing that. And I really do apologize for the mix up with the time. Although I do believe kind of in divine intervention. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to see you stress because, and by the way, ladies, for those of us that have been pregnant, you know that being in a rush when you are 8 months pregnant is a totally different jam than being in a rush when you're not 8 months pregnant. So I feel a little guilty for having done that, but I do think that it's a wonderful lesson for all of us because that is how life is. There's been, and when you're an event planner, these are the things that we deal with, big time. I'm not an event planner, but I'm in the event business. And as you know, I mean, there's times that you have an event and they tell you, oh no, the event is spilling over. So you have to start, you have to cut your speech short 20 minutes, or you have to start an hour late, or you have to skip through lunch. Or by the way, could you change your presentation completely? I know that it starts in 15 minutes, but I need you to address this topic that just came out. So there's all these things that come up when you are dealing with events, and it is a very stressful time. But take away the event, just mothering, being a human being, working, commutes, switching from virtual to or from non-virtual to a virtual space, like all the things that come in life come with so much stress.
Yes.
So Marley, tell us a little bit about, if you don't mind, the science of stress and what what it means to us, so that we can kind of understand stress from a scientific level, and then maybe it'll help us cope with it a little bit better.
Absolutely. I think that's such a great place to start because, I was someone who really used to deny, dismiss, distract myself from, try and eliminate and conquer stress on every level. And I wore stress as this like badge of honor, right? Of like, oh, stress helps me show up and perform, and it puts pressure on me to, do the work that I need to do. And I was raised with a whole lot of stress modeled for me, zero self-care modeled for me. So I just really thought that's who I was. And for those of you ladies that are on the call, I love acronyms. So we'll just start with that little tidbit. That should be in my bio, like moving forward from now on. Just tell people from the start, I love acronyms. And BEST is an acronym for this 4-step, method. But I shared that right now because who I was, I turned that into an acronym. It was such a part of my identity that who I was worried, anxious, and stressed. Was worried, anxious, stressed all the time. I'm talking about I lived in this state of I am worried, I am anxious, I am stressed, I am this, like identifying with stress. And one of the biggest shifts that helped me in my self-care journey to transform me into who I am, which is another acronym, aware and mindful today, was this shift of stop identifying with stress as if it's who you are. How many of us ladies, if you are on Zoom on your desktop, you can use the reactions for a thumbs up. I know many of us have our cameras off, totally fine. How many of us out there say, I am stressed. I'm stressed. I'm so stressed. I'm stressed out. Right? Thank you for coming on with the video. I appreciate it. As a live event producer, I like to see the people, but I'm also okay with the thumbs up. I'm getting used to it. Right? So I used to say this all the time. And the biggest shift, if I can just start by giving you guys one little piece of super valuable perspective, is that you are not stressed. You are not this stress that you're experiencing. It's not who you are. It's not even a problem. It's not something that you need to conquer or eliminate or get rid of from your life. So shifting from I am stressed to I am experiencing stress right now. Huge. I did it this morning. I am experiencing a little bit of stress right now. I'm experiencing stress. And just that awareness, just that language, and Caro, I know that you're big on language, but just being able to reframe what you are experiencing, having that awareness, immediately puts you in the driver's seat. And you're like, okay, this isn't something that's happening to me from the outside. This is something that is happening within me. I am aware of it. And thus, I can do something to alleviate it, to stress less. The name of my course is Best Way to Stress Less. Not the best way to stress never, because that would be a false advertisement.
Well, I love that you said that, Marley, because, and I have seen this because I study it, and I am guilty of it too. I've noticed that it has become a habit to say, when somebody says to you, how are you? The response is never, oh my God, I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. Life is just so wonderful. What do people respond? Oh, you know how it is. It's crazy. I'm busy. I'm overwhelmed. I'm super stressed. Life is chaos. Oh, you know how it is. I'm hanging in there. A
hot mess.
I'm a hot mess. Right. And we say that. And I think that we've actually started to use that language in a way to even be relatable to other people, right? Because it almost feels weird to get into a conversation and say to someone, oh, I'm feeling so grateful lately. Life is wonderful, because the other person on the other end who's pulling their hairs out, the last thing they want to see you say is like, oh, I'm wonderful. Everything is perfect, because nothing ever is, right? So then they think that you're either a fake, or they think that you're a snob, or they don't want to talk to you, or you're not relatable. So
like, oh, you got you and your perfect little life, you know? So my
you and your
answer to
perfect
that,
little life, like
how are you doing?
nobody wants the unicorn. Like, they want real life. They want real talk. And our real talk has become a habit. But what we don't realize is that in that effort to be real and relatable and humble and authentic, we are speaking into the universe constant chaos into our own lives.
Yep.
And stressful. So I understand why we do it, and I am guilty of it. I do it too.
We all
I
are.
catch myself doing it all the time. So there's, I'm not speaking from a place where I'm like, well, I would never do that. No, I do it like all the time. But I do understand now that the power of our language, and when I learned about the power of our language, and it was at a conference, and I was hearing this woman speak, and she said something to me that really reminds me of your program. She's a therapist. She's been working for so many years in therapy. She studied the brain, and she said, our brain is so complicated that we think we need complicated solutions. But we don't need complicated solutions to help our problems. So she said, our brain can be complicated, but our solutions can be simple. And language is so simple. It's such a simple tweak, and it's a solution. And that opened my mind, because before that day, I used to think that it had to be complicated. So I wouldn't participate in daily affirmations. I wouldn't participate in I didn't value any of that. And she allowed me to realize that that was just one tweak that was going to change my life. So I love that about your program, the fact that you have a simple solution for a complicated problem.
Super simple, super complicated. So my answer to, hey, how you doing? And we're all experiencing stress these days is, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. So there's a second tip for today. First is change that language from I am stressed to I'm experiencing stress. And number 2, how you doing today? I'm doing my best.
I love that.
My best. Way better. You can say, you can go off on there. That is super real and authentic. And if you're actually practicing my best method, then it's super authentic, right? Like, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to deal with life, right? Because life can be stressful. And to go back to your initial question, which I went off on this little segue here before I went into the science of stress. And because the science of stress can be complicated, really in my course, I include the first lesson. It's a pre-lesson. It's like 9 minutes long. Just because if we are able to understand the science of stress and what stress is and what's happening in our brain that's causing us to experiencing stress, then we can be more aware of when we're experiencing stress, and we can just understand where it's coming from. And dare I say, relate to our stress with a little bit of kindness and compassion, which everything that I speak about, teach about, create events around has a basis, a root, a foundation of kindness towards ourselves, kindness towards others. So stress is not our enemy. Let's start there. Stress is simply a natural chemical reaction that happens in our body, actually to keep us safe. If stress is when our nervous system is out of balance. And what causes our nervous system to be out of balance many times is the lack of awareness that we're experiencing stress. Or we feel it, but we don't want to feel it. We feel it as a problem, and we're trying to just, plow through it, muscle through it, deny it, distract it, drink, eat, whatever your, form of dealing with it is. But stress is the first way to stress less, and not to go into like the 4-step method that's obviously in the course, but just to give you a little bit of understanding. Breathing. Breathing is the single most powerful tool and technique and key that we have in order to experience less stress. It comes before language. Why? Because when we're experiencing stress, if we have the awareness that we're experiencing stress, because you feel it, We feel it in tension in our body. You might feel it with sweaty hands. You might feel it with like a little jittery, feeling in your throat, or everybody experiences stress differently, but you know how you are reacting or what you're experiencing with stress. And if you can just be aware of that and say, I am experiencing stress, or just acknowledge it and breathe. Mindfully inhale through your nose, mindfully exhale. And we'll do a little practice together in a moment so that you can see that. I did it right before logging onto this thing, as my husband was helping me on the floor cleaning up the coffee that I spilled all over the place. I was just standing there breathing like, okay, why? Because when we inhale through our nose mindfully and feel that breath, it is creating energy. Energy is energy in motion. It's creating sound waves even that communicates to a part of our brain called the amygdala, which the amygdala is the part of our brain that is the emotional response center. So it doesn't even understand language. It responds to emotion, energy in motion. And when we are breathing in this mindful calm, this inhale that immediately communicates to our brain. We have an autonomic nervous system, two branches of our nervous system, sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Very quickly, sympathetic nervous system is the part of our brain that is activated when we're in stress, the fight, flight, freeze response, right? And the parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest. And we need both of them. One isn't better than the other. We can't live without both, right? And that's why I always say it's not better to give than to receive. We have to receive that in-breath, the inhale, and we have to give that exhale. And they're both valuable and vital to being alive. One is not better than the other. But what happens when we experience stress and we have that awareness that we're experiencing stress, and the first thing we do is just breathe mindfully. Inhale and exhale. In our brain, what happens is our amygdala is like, oh, we're safe, we're breathing, we're alive. It communicates to our parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. It's cool. No need to fire all the alarms. No need to, go into fight, flight, or freeze. We're alive. We're safe. And thus, you can experience the stress that you're experiencing or the situation that's happening with a little more focus, a little more presence, a little more calm. It could be that simple. That's why breathing is the first step and the best way to stress less. And obviously there's different breathing techniques, and I share a bonus video in my course with different techniques that we can use to improve our breathing practice. But for right now, what I want to do with all you ladies is just breathe how you breathe. There's no right or wrong way, but just breathe with awareness. Breathe with intention that you are breathing in. And the first affirmation I teach in my course is, I am breathing in. Acknowledge that breath, receive it. I am breathing out. And if wherever you are, you're standing, you're sitting, just do that with me for a moment. Let's do that together. There's so much power in practicing this together also. And in my mind, I think of like ocean, right? When I'm inhaling, I see the waves coming into the shore, crashing. I hear the sound of my breath as if it were the waves. And when I exhale, it's that crashing of the waves and it's going back. And I just do that maybe 3 to 5 times while I'm experiencing stress. I was able to log on to this and be like, hey, God, this crap just happened. It was super stressful, but here I am. We're fine. Let's move it along. And I use that stress to your advantage rather than, oh my God, and now, let me log on. Okay, good. And I'm here. And then I'm not really present for you. I'm still stressing about what happened, and I'm feeling all of that cortisol and adrenaline and the stress hormones in your body that don't allow you to really be present with people, to really be focused and productive and real in your conversations with other people or in your work or in your family, right? For me, the biggest reason that first I created this course and that I practice it, the why is so important. Why do you want to stress less in your life? For me, in this current chapter in my life, it was so important for me to shift the stress that I was feeling from my business crumbling and me having to pivot and change my whole life that I've dedicated the past 20 years to doing. How can I shift that energy positively? Why? Because I refuse to flood my body with stress hormones while I'm pregnant. I refuse to embed that level of chemistry into my child, my unborn child's nervous system. I refuse. I want to be able to manage that, and I know that I can. So in a little bit of a nutshell, that's a little sprinkle of like the science behind stress and how it could be so simple.
Marley, if I can interrupt you for a second, because you said something that went sparked in my mind. You said that the breathing, and you use that word which I can't pronounce, the
Amygdala.
the amygdala.
Yeah, it's a weird word.
You said that it doesn't even recognize language, right? Is that what you said?
It's pre-verbal. It recognizes like the reason why affirmations are powerful, and I'm going to go into that because I know that's a big part of what you teach, and it's super important, not to mention that language is not important at all. It's just breathing comes first because the brain and that amygdala part of the brain, which is the first response, it's our like reptilian brain, if you will. It responds to sound and energy and emotion.
So I love that. Yeah. So I'm thinking, I give my community a daily affirmation, and is one of the most powerful things that we do in our core challenge. And every morning I give them this affirmation, and I ask them to repeat that affirmation all day long and really reflect on that affirmation and how it affects their life, right? Because what our goal in our core challenge is to wake them up to this new perspective, to these new thoughts, to the way that they handle their life, their self-care, their stress, their gratitude, all the things that happen. So should I be telling them before I give them the affirmation, should I remind them to breathe? So it's like, take a breath and then participate in the affirmation?
Precisely. Let me show you. What's your affirmation for this week or for today? Put you on the spot here. Oh, I'm sorry. You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I muted myself by mistake. So today's affirmation is, hold on. I want to make sure that I say it correctly. I accept full responsibility for my life.
Great.
Today is, I accept full responsibility for my life.
So you can say an affirmation. I accept full responsibility for my life. I accept full responsibility for my life. I accept full responsibility for my life. You're going through a stressful situation, and I'm like, I accept full responsibility for my life. You could be experiencing a lot of stress while you're saying those words. Or, I accept full responsibility for my life. I accept full responsibility for my life. You can do it at the same time. And what happens is the amygdala responds to energy, to the sound waves. So if you say your affirmation by just saying words, your amygdala doesn't understand and is not communicating to your nervous system. And thus it's not having the effect in your body that you want. But if you tie emotion, energy, sound waves, such as breathing, the simplest thing that you can do, right before you're saying that, while you're saying that, now that affirmation is powerful. Now that affirmation means something because the feeling, the emotion in the words that you're saying are powered by this vital sound wave called your breath that your amygdala understands as like, oh, we're okay, we're breathing, we're good. So just breathe while you're saying your affirmations, infuses it, sparks those affirmations with energy, the positive energy that they need in order for your brain to understand the energy behind the words that you're saying. Our brain doesn't understand these words. It understands the energy, the emotion from which you're saying these words. So my only suggestion or tip or advice would be, yes, just remind your beautiful core crew, hey, while you're saying this, breathe. And actually, you can say all 4 steps of the best way to stress less. You can do all 4 of them as you're doing your affirmations. And now, boom. Now you've taken your affirmations to this whole new level.
Wow.
Because you're breathing through it. You're experiencing your words. You're smiling as you're saying these words. You're being thankful, right? As you're saying these words and towards yourself for doing your affirmations. Now those affirmations are powerful.
And Marley, on the same note, and I'm not, hang on one second because my son.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm happy
So
to.
you know
I
that
see
I'm
the
on vacation. You know that I'm on vacation with my family in Fort Myers. So I hear the TV turn on and it's like dun 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 dun. So I
that
said,
was
let me
good. It wrapped up my
dun
talk with
dun
this like
dun.
I love
So
it.
I said, let me tell them to lower that. So oh my God, I lost my train of thought of even what I was gonna say because of the dun 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 dun. So let me take a deep breath. So one of the questions that I had for you was, how do you feel about the person that tells you, "Oh, Marley, that sounds great, but when I'm in such a bad place or when I'm in such a hurry, I don't have time to take that breath and repeat that affirmation, or I don't feel that way. Like I am lying to myself when I am saying, you know, oh my God, I accept full responsibility for my life, or oh my God, I'm so grateful when I'm repeating this, or I am not stressed, I'm experiencing stress, I'm lying because I am stressed. How do you respond to people that feel that way? Because our feelings are strong.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're real and they're validated, and that's what you're going through. So I think that's when the underlying, I'm doing my best to get through this. I'm doing the best that I can right now to deal with the stress. I'm doing the best, that I can with, where I am in my self-care journey. And really the underlying principle of what I'm teaching is kindness towards yourself. So even if you are experiencing an immense amount of stress where you're like, boom, I'm not putting up my middle finger, but it's in the middle, boom, to your affirmations and your breathing and your techniques, because you know what? I'm freaking pissed right now and this is happening. Being able to, in that moment, you are breathing. No one can tell me I don't have time to breathe. You breathe over 20,000 times a day. You're breathing. What you're breathing is ineffectively in order to help you calm down and stress less. Another quick example, just yesterday, I experienced a high level of stress. I was super upset leaving from my doctor's office. I'm 35 weeks pregnant. I had to have a C-section, like an emergency C-section with my first baby. So this time around, they scheduled me for a C-section on September 1st. I'm leaving the doctor's office. Everything is fine with my baby. I'm happy. I'm grateful. And right as a checkout, they're like, hey, we have to tell you something. Your insurance dropped Dr. X. So he's not going to be able to perform your C-section on September 1st. It's going to have to be this other doctor that I've never met. I don't know. And I don't have time to change my insurance because it'll be effective September 1st. And that's my date. And there's nothing that I can do other than go with this new doctor, change my date, my due date, and all this stuff coming at me that is completely outside of my control. And I am pissed. I was there and I was like, as she's speaking to me, and I'm like, and I let her finish. Like, I'm not happy with this at all. I'm not okay with this change at all. I need to speak with someone that can explain to me why I need to make this change less than 4 weeks out from my due date. I'm not okay with this at all. And I'm feeling like shaky. I have a knot in my throat because I'm pissed. I want to say a whole lot of other things. And I go and I sit down to wait till this other person to come and speak to me and try and make me understand. The point is, I'm not even going to go through the whole story, but the point is, in that moment, I could flick off my own 4-step process for, stressing less, because in that moment, I'm really upset. But I know if I know one thing that I am always doing, that I can always be aware of, that I could always control, that I could always tap into in order to help me through absolutely any level of stress, is that I am breathing. I am breathing. And the reason that I think that most people don't tap into that superpower and that key is because they've always been able to breathe, and we take things for granted, right? The only time that you're able to appreciate your breath, and it's interesting that we're going through these COVID-19 times, that's a respiratory disease. So many people, if there's one positive thing that could come out of this, is that so many more people are appreciating their breath and their ability to breathe. I grew up with chronic asthma. I am very intensely connected to and appreciative of my ability to breathe. And I just know through practice, my own experience before I ever knew yoga, and certainly the past 6 years, understanding the power of the breath, is that even if while that woman was speaking to me, really pissing me off, or I could have just been like, or I could have just been breathing in that moment intensely, which I was. I mean, you could hear my breath from the outside. We were like Darth Vader, like. My husband runs away when he hears me breathe that way, by the way. It's a really great technique. It's called Ujjayi breath, another technique. Anyway, I digress. So what I would say to someone that is in that level of stress, that's not, about, I'm not going to do your affirmations, I'm experiencing this, is that's okay. I understand. You're human beings and you're doing the best that you can to deal with this stressful situation. But can I just remind you that you're breathing right now? Just breathe with me. And I do that with people often. You know our mutual friend, Adriana Foster, right? Adriana Foster, right before a concert, right before one of her first concerts. She's a singer, amazing motivational singer. She sings to motivate others. And right before I was helping her produce her concert, and right before she was about to step on stage, she was having a panic attack. She was having a panic attack. And I can't go out there. And I was like, oh, woo, I totally understand how you feel. I held her hands and I practiced my best with her without saying a word. I practiced those 4 steps without saying a single word. It took maybe a minute. I'm like, hey, all those people that are out there in the audience just want you to show up and be present and share with them your voice. They're not expecting you to perform any particular way. They don't even know what you have to give them. But they want to see you. They want to receive you. So just breathe with me. Breathe as you're walking to that stage. Experience what you've created here. Smile at your audience. Just be thankful for this moment because you've created this moment in order to give a spark of inspiration for all these people. You got this. And it's totally normal that you're feeling stressed and anxious right now. Use it to fuel you to give a kick-ass performance out there. And she went away and rocked it. And then later she's like, oh my God, I almost lost it. I almost was going to cancel this thing. I wasn't going to step on stage. And all she needed to do was just, and I didn't tell her, listen, we got to do our 4-step method. The best way to stress less right now. We got to do this affirmation. No. Just, you're always breathing. My friends, you are always breathing. And as long as you're breathing.
It's funny that you should say that, Marley, because sometimes when my kids get upset, I'll say to them, okay, they're having a full temper tantrum and I'll be like, okay, what are we going to do now? And they get so mad. They get more mad. They go, I don't want to breathe right now because they get so upset. I don't want to, Mom. I don't want to. I know what you're going to say. Stop telling me to breathe. So I have stopped telling them because I realize that it triggers them. So now when they get upset, I'm like,
you do it.
And I model it for them.
Exactly.
Because telling them just triggers them because they know that I'm trying to calm them down.
When you're upset, you want somebody to tell you, calm down, breathe. No. I didn't tell Adriana to calm down or breathe. I held her hands and I breathed with her. My kid is 2 years old. Temper tantrums, 2 years old. And when he's having them, he already knows. Breathing. I'm like, papi, mamá está respirando, respira. I talk to him in Spanish. I'm like, just breathe, papi. As I'm breathing, mami, mira. Down, he's two. Model it.
So Marley, you said another thing in passing that I caught as you were speaking, and I don't want to let that go because you said it very quickly. You said, "Oh, that's why I say that receiving is better, and giving is not better than receiving." And I'm a little bit shocked that you said that because you are like the giving queen. You live your life to give and to perform random acts of kindness. I look at you as such a giving person, so I don't understand how you just said that, and I'd love you to share with my audience what you mean by giving is not more important than receiving.
Yeah. So thanks. I kind of shook my audience up a little bit too when I said that. My promo video for Best Way to Stress Less, if you go to my website, which is marleyq.com/stress less, my promo video, which is 2 minutes that explains the whole course, I start off by saying, no, it's not better to give than to receive. Which completely, I know is a shocker because I've lived my entire life believing You get to give is better than to receive. That was modeled for me. That's what I believe. And I still think it's a very beautiful and humble and wonderful philosophy. But if you live your life, I shouldn't say but, I should say and. If you believe that it's better to give and to receive, and you live your whole life with that as your underlying belief, and you do not allow yourself to receive, that road is going to end up at the same exact place for every single one of us. And that road is burnout, stress, burnout, resentment, anger, frustration. I feel unvalidated. I feel unappreciated. I feel unseen. I feel empty because you're just giving and giving and giving and giving. You're not receiving. So when it comes to stress management and when it comes to living a life of service, which I have revolved my entire life around service.
And it doesn't even have to be service, right? Like it could be just giving to our children.
It is
giving
service.
to our family.
Number one thing that we serve is our children and our family. So it doesn't have to be service to the world. Service in your home.
Right,
That's the
right.
number one place.
And that's where we give the most.
That's where we give the most, right? And that's where we want to give the most. But if we only, that's why today was so refreshing to receive without asking. My husband made the coffee, made me my cafecito con leche, and brought me my pancito, and I was just like, thank you so much. Like, I didn't even ask you for it, right? A previous me would have been like, I would have felt so guilty that I didn't make the coffee. I'm sorry, I was so rushed today. I was so stressed, I didn't get to do it.
Apologizing for not making the coffee.
None of that happened. I was so proud of myself. I was like, wow, look at this transformation. Thank you, Caro, for scooching this up an hour earlier, making me stress so that I can realize how much I have transformed in my own journey in that respect alone. And the reason that I say that it is not better to give than to receive, and it's not better to receive than to give, they are both equally and vitally important in order to live a life that's happy and fulfilled. You need to give and receive. And it goes back to the very basics of this conversation. In the beginning, we were talking about the power of our breath and our nervous system. When we inhale, when we were born, your baby, you and your baby, breathed. You inhaled first. You received life. And then you exhaled and cried and faced life. And when you expire at the end of your life, the last thing you're going to do is exhale. But it is this constant exchange of inhaling and exhaling that keeps us alive on a scientific and biological level. When you inhale, you're activating your sympathetic nervous system. And when you exhale, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system. And you need both. We need stress in order to thrive in life, in order to be safe, in order to perform, in order to, meet that deadline. If you miss your alarm clock in the morning, like you experience some stress and you get up and you get it all done. You rush the kids off to school, or if you're on stage and they tell you, like, hey, you're going to have to change your presentation, or you have to cut it short, you're experiencing stress in that moment, but it fuels you. It supports you in order to be able to perform. That is called eustress, EU stress. And eu is a Greek word that stands for good, literally translating into good stress. Stress can be good when we're experiencing in its acute form, acute meaning short term. Stress is good. Use it to fuel you. I used it this morning to fuel me into like, let's get this all ready so that I can come here and be with you and actually be present. When it turns into the double-edged sword, when it turns against us, when stress turns against us, is when it becomes chronic stress. When we are not acknowledging the stress that we're feeling and we're not doing anything in order to balance our nervous system. We're not doing anything to come back into homeostasis, right? To not use the word balance. Some people don't like the word balance. Homeostasis, right? Where we are inhaling and exhaling rhythmically, and our nervous system is calm and understanding that we are just experiencing life's stresses the best way that we can. So it is not better to give than to receive. It is not better to receive than to give. It is best to give and receive. And that is a foundational thing that I have learned and has really changed my life. Somebody that was completely only a giver, only giving all the time. And I burned out way more times than I can count, and I end up in the, hospital and migraines and overweight and all these health issues because I was just living from a place of giving is more important than receiving. And receiving starts with receiving from yourself, which is something else that my course really aims to teach. A habit is of giving to yourself first before we're expecting to receive from the world, from others, from our spouse, or from our kids. Receive first to yourself. You can give to yourself, you can receive from yourself, and that is a beautiful act of kindness that allows us to fuel ourselves with the energy, with the happiness, with the joy, with the fulfillment, with the peace that we need in order to show up in life feeling and doing our best for ourselves, for our family, for our work.
That is one of the things that I love so much about our challenges, that we really support these women in receiving for themselves and carving out that time for themselves, and really being kind to them, and allowing them to take care of themselves. We have 10 minutes left, and I wanted to see if anybody had any questions for
I see some stuff
Marley.
here in the chat. People want me to reveal my acronym. They want me to reveal it.
Yeah,
man.
Girl.
So I go here with this back and forth. It's like, man, my course is so simple that if I tell you my acronym, are you going to take my course? And my hope is that you do, because my course is something that you can do in under an hour. All the 8 videos are super short from start to finish. You can take them in little chunks, or you can sit down for less than an hour and complete the whole thing and learn the best acronym and learn the 4 steps. I actually shared with you today the whole thing. I did it with you. I modeled it. I just didn't reveal the exact words to keep some mystery to it. But I'm happy to share it with you, because even if I give it to you, the acronym, what it stands for, there's still an immense amount of value in actually learning why these things are effective techniques and how to actually practice them. So I actually have a special code for you ladies to join me in the course, even though it started on Monday. What I'm doing is this entire month, every week, I'm coming on and doing these live coaching calls and Q&As with people and practicing with people, which is, it's actually Core 10, Caro. I'm sorry, I had to update it. I had to update it because it expired from the first time around. So it's Core 10.
Core 10. So everybody ignore the first one. Use Core 10.
Yeah. No
Is
worries.
it 10 the number 10 or 10 TEN?
Here, I just put that on there. I put the link and the Core 10 in the chat. So
awesome.
But for you beautiful ladies who are curious about the 4 steps, again, I'll tell them to you, and we actually practice them together. Let's practice them together while you're saying your affirmation for this week, which is, I accept full responsibility for my life.
For my life, yeah.
I expect full responsibility.
That's not for the week. That's for today.
For today.
Every
wonderful.
day they get a new one.
Ooh, all right, great. So let's do our best with this affirmation. Wherever you are, go ahead and sit up nice and tall. Drop whatever you have in your hands. If you can have your feet flat on the floor, awesome. And your spine nice and straight. Just take a nice deep inhale and feel your breath as it hits the back of your throat, expands your chest and fills your belly. And feel your breath as you exhale, your belly falls. And your breath exits your nose. And just experience this breath as it comes in. Experience the breath as you release it. Take one more intentional breath. In and out. Maybe soften your face, your cheeks, your jaw. Perhaps I invite you to bring a soft smile to your face. And see if as you're inhaling and exhaling, you can spark this feeling of gratitude. Say thank you for this in-breath as you receive it. Breathe, experience it. Smile as you're breathing and exhaling. Say thank you. Now say to yourself, I accept full responsibility for my life. Maybe you can even bring your hands to your heart if that feels authentic for you. You can smile.
I accept full responsibility for my life.
Breathe, experience it, smile, say thank you. I accept full responsibility for my life. I accept full responsibility for my life. I accept full responsibility for my life.
I accept full responsibility for my life.
And as we did that for possibly a minute together, you practiced your best. Breathe, experience, smile, thank you. Best. And in my course, I go deep into why breathing is the essential thing that we must do outside of what I've shared here today. With experience, we go into how we can actually experience the present moment of stress or whatever is happening. How do we connect into this present moment? What can we use outside of our breath or in addition to our breath in order to ground us and connect us into this present moment? With the S, with a smile, I share how you can give yourself this healthy dose of happiness anytime, anywhere. And I also share how when you're experiencing, like I did yesterday, I did not smile while I was experiencing that stress. So I give you a second, strategy for what that S can stand for when it's not authentic for you to smile in that moment. And T for thank you. We all are taught the importance of gratitude. Say thank you, and say thank you to others, thank you to others, and that's awesome. My course aims to teach you how to create a habit and a practice of thanking you. Even in a moment of intense stress, like I had yesterday and even this morning. Thank you. Thank you, Marley, for adjusting your whole morning and making it a priority to be here on time at 10. Thank you for being that kind of person. Thank you for being aware of the fact that you're experiencing stress and breathing through this moment in order to calm myself down and not reach over the counter and tell that woman off who's totally changing my plans. Thank you for having that kind of self-control. Thank you. How can we create a habit of thanking you? You. Because you are the only one that is with you from the moment that you were born to the moment that you die. So shouldn't we be practicing the best kind of self-care so that we can show up as our best in our own life for ourselves? We can feel our best about ourselves. We can share that best with those that we love. We can be our best at work. We can show up as our best for the community and the work that we're passionate about. It starts with you building a habit and a practice of actually acknowledging and actually being appreciative of you for just doing your best every day.
Thank you, Marley. This has been wonderful. So I will share a quick testimonial that I took your course on Saturday. And on Saturday, I had to put my dog down. And it was a very sad day for me. And I thought to myself, wow, as I was taking your course, which I did in an hour, and I was listening to your course and feeling that sadness, I thought, what a day to actually listen to this, because I didn't feel the stress. I felt sadness. And sadness is a form of stress, but you don't realize that, right? So you're like, I'm not stressed. Well, I didn't feel stress. I felt sadness. And I was able to feel that sadness. I was able to experience that sadness. I was able to be thankful. I was able to smile at the memories of my dog. Like, I felt that it was a beautiful day to take that course, and it really centered me and put me in a good place. And I thought more, somebody said this to me once, and they said, Caro, when you stand up on a stage and you speak to someone, it's not even about what you say, it's about the energy that you give them. And sometimes you don't need to say anything at all to impact their lives because of the energy you bring. And I felt that way with you, Marley. You said incredible stuff. It was very valuable. I took so much of it. But had you even said nothing, you in that video, that energy that you gave in that video, the love that you transmit through that video, I felt it, and it soothed me on that day that I needed it so much. So I hope that that everybody joins your course. I hope that everyone gets the value that you have to offer, and that we can continue to spread kindness into the world.
Ah, thank you so much for sharing. You just shared the reason why the amygdala is so important to understand. You just said it. Like, the words don't even matter unless the right energy is behind them. And I will be completely honest and transparent with you and everybody. And even in my podcast, the first episode, I was like, listen, I'm scared to shit to do this. And I'm so stressed. And I hate this whole virtual world that I'm being forced into. I like being in front of people, and I like to hug them and high five them and feel energy, because that's how I get energy, is from others. So I was feeling an immense amount of stress in order to record the best way to stress less. I was like, oh my God. And I had to like coach myself immensely, coach myself in order, like, okay, if I can just show up with the right energy and that right like service heart, that I have something so simple that I desperately wish to share with other people that are experiencing an immense amount of stress right now and don't know how to handle it. And we're seeing a rise in suicide, and we're seeing a rise in like mental health issues, and we're seeing all this, and especially in young children. A young child can understand my best way to stress less and do it, right? So I want to be able to get this out into schools and into the hands of as many people as possible, because it is powerful and it is so simple. And there's so much power in the simple things. We don't, like you said, we don't need this complicated problem in order to solve the complicated problem. We need simple solutions that we can actually incorporate into our daily lives as busy moms, busy professionals, busy people. We need that. So I'm so happy to hear your feedback and your testimonial, if you will, because that just makes me feel really proud of myself for tapping into my courage and using my stress that I was authentically feeling to fuel me into, you know what, acknowledge the stress and do it anyway. Because if I can just reach one person, which I'm so happy my first class has 30 people, and if you all join, I'll have more. I'm so excited. And through you'll be able to teach, because it's so simple. You can teach it, you can have a watch party in your house, and for $49 or whatever I'm selling this thing for, your whole family can benefit, and you can do your best together. And that'll just make me so happy. So the energy and the intention, I'm so grateful to hear that it was transmitted without me even needing to like be so perfect on my words and, my teaching curriculum, if you will. Thank you, Caro.
All right. Well, everybody is free to go. If anybody wants to stay on to share with Marley or speak with Marley, I'm sure she can give us an extra 5 minutes, but this has officially ended. This event has officially ended. So thank you, Marley, for being here. And I will keep you guys on for a few minutes if anybody wants anything that they want to say.
Carolina, this is Laura.
Hi, Laura. Laura's one of our core crew girls.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, Marley. I wanted to share, I had the same experience that you had on your OB&Y, just a few weeks also from having my baby. So I contacted the insurance, and they gave you a form that you can ask them to reconsider, just to take your doctor into the network while you are on the critical time. So you never lose for doing that.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. I'll get on that today. This just happened yesterday, and I know me, if I take action while I'm upset, it's not the right energy for me to be able to produce the result I want. So I'm like, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to give it a little bit. Sometimes we think that we know why things happen. Maybe this is for the better, maybe, so instead of me trying to plan and control everything, I just wanted to kind of sleep on it today. And from a better place, energetically, I'm like, all right, do I really want, and talk to my husband, like, do I really want to keep the plan as it is? I'll reach out to the insurance and see if I can make that plea. Thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Good luck.
Thanks.
Mark, I just want to say congratulations on your course, because I just happened to be on one of those calls way back when with Luli, back when started this whole pandemic that has been, you know, we can say it's a blessing in disguise for many things.
Yeah.
So I'm just really proud to see that, and I'll definitely be checking it out. So
Thank
really
you. Yeah.
for you.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
I'm sure on one of those calls with Luli, I was like, I'm so stressed. I want to do this thing, and I don't know how.
Yeah, it was just like that. You had no idea. Like, you were like, how I don't like any of this, you know, just that whole being in front of people and, you know, having to pivot, you know, that's the new word. That is the, you know, COVID pivot.
Yeah. We're like salsa dancers out there. Pivot. 1, 2, 3, pivot. 1, 2, 3, pivot.
Yeah. So, but thank you so much. I mean, even for that, you know, there's just like with Caro's core challenge, it doesn't matter even if you already know the tools, I guess, but it's what, you know, in your life when you're applying them, when they're actually gonna, it's like listening or meeting somebody for the first time, but you had already seen them, you had crossed paths, but since you didn't get, you know, introduced or, you know, mentioned, now hasta en la sopa, you know how they say. You know, so I think with this, it's just like, you know, we all know that we should breathe, but thank you for sharing, you know, specific things to really align us to what we need to do. And so I'm sure that, you know, you give us some more good nuggets in your course. So thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I tried my very best to have zero fluff in this course and really make it incredibly practical and simple for people to actually do.
Good. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carolina. I want to thank you for the course, and I really understand what you're saying, because that's who I am. I'm a ball of energy, and I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 21 years. So you know that I know how to pivot, and I'm pivoting hard lately. But the way that it's true, we have to breathe. And sometimes, like you said at the doctor's office, I understand you completely. You wanted to like scream, but you didn't. And I think that is what your course helps us, and our daily living of making ourselves better with that. Because sometimes we go. And you said something that I had tears in my eyes, that we have to take care of ourselves first. Like, it's us, and this is for us, not for anybody else. That we do everything for our kids, we do everything for everybody. And thank me, it's like me, Carolina, thank you. And I've never thought about it like that. And it's a nice way, because I'm a giver and I'm all about service, and I forget sometimes about Carolina.
But not anymore, because Carolina is rocking this challenge. Carolina is exercising. She's eating well. She's inspiring her family. She's a freaking superstar.
I
really are, Caro. I am so proud of you.
I love it. Thank you for sharing so much. I appreciate it.
Look at this community, Marley, that we have.
I know. No, that's it. This is all I needed to do today. If I do nothing else today, I was like, I shut up. I was here. I received all this beautiful energy, and hopefully able to give a little bit too. Awesome. I'm here for you if anyone else has anything else.
My glass is fogging up, and I don't even have my mask on. I mean, it's like.
I love it.
And we've got my girl Christina Madrigal, who's another one of our superstars. I can't see who Nico is, but I know that's somebody of ours. I just don't know who that is. And we got Luli on. She was in our core challenge last month, and she's another rock star. So we've had a beautiful community today. You had a lot of beautiful people show up.
Awesome. I feel it. Thank you so much for inviting me in and letting me receive some of this awesome energy from your core crew. And I warmly invite you, and I hope to be able to be of service to you guys as well, any way that I can.
Okay, ladies, have a great day. Everybody enjoy your day, and we will reconvene on WhatsApp.
Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you,
everybody.
Have the best time. Bye.
Okay, bye.